Stage lights are on, as they would say on the other side. The Christmas tree lighting up. Porsche Carrera Cup is going. The leader from yesterday's gone nowhere. He gets clipped. It could get worse before it gets better. He just gets missed by a few more, but
it's torn the rear axle out, Chad. He's going nowhere.
And it's taken out Dale Wood, 2nd and 4th in the championship. Huge moment. I talked to him yesterday about the new launch control system. He hasn't been overly happy with it. I wonder if that's played a role in this. And that could be a pivotal moment in this championship. And there's more happening in the background as the safety car gets deployed. Oh, there's been a bit of a drama here at the exit of turn 1 as well, Crailsey.
So that's Dean Cook in car number 22. Stephenson's copped an enormous hit against the fence there. We're instantly under the Vodafone safety car. And after a banner day yesterday for Wall Racing, David Wall walks forlornly from car number 1. So it's a launch assist system that was introduced to the championship for the first time at Phillip Island last time out. There's Dale Wood. No, it's torn a corner out the front of his car. Number 100 from Sonic Motor Racing. Oh, gee, John Stephenson's had a very big accident there. That's a significant impact. That's the Lee Holdsworth wall from a couple of years ago. It's a little bit further up the run into turn 3 and 4.
So much anticipation for the start of that race just then.
So just on that launch assist, look at that. It's torn the upright clean out of, it's one of the 2 cars. I'm thinking that's David Wall, where he's collected from Dale Wood. So the launch assist is a system, and they're taking the cars through pit lane, by the way, just to clear the accident zone and any debris that may be on the start-finish line here at Hidden Valley. So it's a system implemented to look after the clutches in these cars and just take a lot of the load off. Ordinarily, a start in one of these things is like letting off a hand grenade at 8,500 RPM. So it limits the revs, and it's just required the drivers and teams to get their heads around a different process. It's a different rev setting at the start, different feeling on the clutch bite point. And David Wall found it, and it popped the clutch and went nowhere, and an enormous impact there for Dale Wood. So that's the front corner from Dale Wood's car that's been torn out. The damage underneath car number 1 will be significant.
A few things from that replay there. Dylan O'Keefe take a bow.
Save of the day.
Watch the 88. How does he get through that gap? Oh, bang. Quite a violent impact. And incredible that it was only 2 cars involved. So that's the first moment. Then just 10 seconds later, Crailsey, there was another.
So this was the mystery to us while we were watching what was going on at the straight. So moving across on Cook was Stephenson, and whack into the tyres.
Wow, how lucky for the former Olympic athlete that tyre bundle is there now, because that would have been a horrible moment. From further back in the pack, Mark Cini's viewpoint. Maybe just an awareness issue for a new driver. And once these things get hooked up together, there's no stopping him. But the best news of all is that Stepho's okay, as he unplugs himself from the 808. He's a very competitive man.
And fiercely passionate and committed about his motor racing. And there's a guy that dominated this championship at the Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit a month and a half ago. He was in electrifying form. And this is David Wall just looking at car number 1. So there's going to be significant damage to the rear subframe of that car. The way it impacted rear axle, drive shaft and gearbox. They'll go to work, but it's not a long turnaround between races.
It's a double whammy, isn't it? You'd be better off having this happen in race 3 than having it happen in race 2.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll be surprised to see this thing come back as well. We'll be surprised to see either of our 2 championship contenders come back. So it's not just going to cost them 0 points in this race, it's going to cost them a bunch later, and their endurance championship hopes.
Yeah, it's the ripple effect, domino effect in this one.
What a shame that is.
I've got David Wall down here. David, mate, with the launch control, is that what happened when you basically you release the button and just stall?
Yeah, basically this new launch control system's junk in these cars. Yeah, unfortunately I did exactly what I did yesterday, and when I've gone to go, it just instantly pulled the engine down. So, yeah, totally my fault. I'm sorry if whoever hit me, but yeah, I wish we'd go back to the original system.
So it was Dale Wood, actually. Title's now gone well back, swung back to Jackson Evans. It's a tough day for you as well. The damage to that car, you've had a good look. I know you're very mechanically minded. Yeah. Is it okay for today's race?
We'll see. It's done a little bit of damage to the quarter. Yeah, we'll see. We'll get it back and have a look, but definitely not ideal. That's the first race we've never finished since we've come back to Carrera Cup. So, yeah, bloody disappointed, especially starting from pole. Car's been great all weekend. Yeah, just one of those things that was obviously not ideal for anyone.
Now, these cars are so quick off the line. For you starting in pole position, it must have been a frightening moment. I was diving for a garage as well. Take us through what it's like to sit on pole position with a car stalled.
Yeah, it's not ideal, that's for sure. I mean, when they stall, they take a long time to try and even restart. They've got to kind of reset themselves. But, yeah, I was definitely trying to get it going, but couldn't get anywhere.
Thanks, Wally, and good luck getting that car ready.
So.
What a shame that was. So replays again. The pole sitter goes nowhere. Gets clipped by Dale Wood. Incredible that everyone missed the wheel. The stricken car. Now, the irony here, Krales, is the launch control was introduced because we had a stalled car at the Grand Prix, and it's been introduced to also limit not just moments like this, but be cost-saving efforts because of the clutches having to be replaced. It's unfortunate that it should have a knock-on effect like this.
He knows his stats as well. He's had a remarkable record in this series since returning at the start of last year. In fact, at the Grand Prix, ended a 24-race streak of finishing in the top 6 in this series, and that is his first DNF. That's an enormous impact, and really pleased that tyre wall was installed there, because otherwise the damage would be significantly worse. This is Anthony Gilbertson taking evasive action of not just a car, but an errant wheel of Dale Wood's car and an upright brake rotor. Everything still assembled. Such was the brute force of the impact. And there is the forlorn car 100. Had a chat to Michael Ritter this morning, team boss at Sonic Motor Racing, and said, what did you do, Mick, last night? Tune your drivers and cars up? He said, no, nothing wrong with the drivers. We're just struggling all around with a lack of grip this weekend, reflected in the performance of cars 777 and 77, the Bob Jane T-Mart's cars as well. Ironically, they've been amongst the big beneficiaries out of this drama, because they've Jordan Love in 4th and Michael Arman in 6th from 10th. They've got great ground early in this race. Unfortunately, they're watching their teammate's car be recovered, and also that of John Stephenson from Porsche Centre Melbourne. John's been busy this weekend with his charitable efforts with the Gary Durkay Foundation. Indigenous AFL player from East Arnhem Land who unfortunately died in 2005. So let's go back and analyse this again, Chad. Mark Seeney's on board.
We're going to follow him the whole way through the start of this race. He did a very good job to pick up that there was a problem, and was just lucky that there was a gap to go in between Wall and the car and then around Darwood. Now he's thinking, okay, I'm through the storm here.
How close was he?
That was inches.
Just escaped having a crash there, and then in front, watch the yellow engine cover head towards the fence, and the bright orange Porsche do the same.
The really frustrating thing about that one as well for me, Krause, is it ended up being